is Onyishi Obinna Augustine. I'm a graduate of the University of Nigeria Nsukka, graduate with first class honors. I attended Abuja campus of the Nigerian Law School, finished with a 2-1 degree at the Nigerian Law School and was awarded Best Physically Challenged Student at the Nigerian Law School. Personal experience for wanting to study law, it's a bit dramatic. I wasn't congenitally visually impaired, so at the time, I initially wanted to be a medical doctor, but I don't think I'll be carrying out some medical surgery without sight, so they had to advise me to pick another career path. So I just needed to go for the next best thing, which is law, and so yeah, and ever since I've not regretted it. Wasn't the first love, but eventually we fell in love as the journey wore on. So yeah, preparation for the Nigerian Law School was quite peculiar. In our university that year, we had some backlog issues, so it was a thing of not many persons are going to go to law school from my class, so it was a jostle to just finish as high up as possible, since they're going to do like based on performance and the like. So there was this trepidation in school, so it wasn't as so straight-jacketed as previous sessions and the like. So there was a sense of foreboding. We had to do lots of encouraging ourselves. You know, everyone was turning to a motivational speaker to one another. But overall, I would say that the preparation for the Nigerian Law School was calm, was a bit soft. I must admit that our set to heralded the beginning of the 476K school fees. So the whole talks and rumors that they are going to hike our tuition was also like another thing. So the whole financial dynamic that was involved into the whole thing, you know, had to make quite a number of scholarship applications, you know, waiting for you to either be awarded or feedback and all. So I would say that on a general note, there was a sense of uncertainty in view of the things that we're hoping and working on. But overall, it wasn't bad. I had a better view as to what we're going to expect, at least the 5 courses to be undertaken at the Nigerian Law School. Had little prep-ups, at least just went through the topics, just like, you know, looked at the number of topics and everything. So yeah, so I'll just say that that's how I was able to ready myself. So far the academic aspect was checked, which is that I know the idea and I know how many courses I was to offer, and then the financial aspect was eventually sorted out as well. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was, the thought of attending Nigerian Law School was generally exhilarating and exciting, I would say, so yeah. Journey at the Nigerian Law School is one that is better experienced than told. So in as much as I got many experiences from persons who even attended Nigerian Law School like 15, 20 years back to as recent as just the last or penultimate set, it still did not ready me for what I witnessed at the law school. So, you know, there were talks of it's very bulky, you had so many courses, you're going to draft all your life, you're going to read this, read that, you know, how many courses, how many things. Like, the thought of it, the academic rigors was truly cumbersome, right? But, I mean, all the stories that you've heard about the Nigerian Law School, they are true. And, you know, it's not about hinging lots of hearsays to what you experience. There's a whole lot of clarity that must go into anything that you want to do in life, because it's very easy for you to hear stories from other people. And you know what they say. If people should tie their eyes and touch an elephant, everybody would describe how they feel or what they think the elephant is from what they are feeling. So everyone will tell their story from their own vantage point. But the truth is that the importance of garnering diverse stories is that it gives you an idea. It doesn't tell you that that will be your reality. It doesn't tell you that that is how yours will go. But it just gives you, you know, a feeling to say, okay, at least this is what it can be. This is what it may be. You know, but it's very important that anytime that you're undertaking anything in life, you go in with a very clear mind, but you have a backup, which is experiences that you've heard. Not as though that would now, you know, tailor your own approach, but it just gives you an idea, because I mean, it's very good that before you go into a battle or any war, you have an idea as to the arsenal being possessed by your enemy, to just help you equip yourself and ready yourself. So as to the assumptions, obviously I heard so many things, you know, scary stories. You're going to have to read all through the night, you're going to soak your leg inside water, you're not going to sleep, you're not going to have a social life, lots of it, right? But the realities, I mean, maybe in the course of the interview when we start getting to specifics, but it was generally a very exciting experience, extremely academically grueling, but yeah, exciting generally. So that was my own personal reality. So as many persons who knew me, even from my LLB journey at UNN, and even down to the Nigerian Law School Abuja campus, I do not play with other aspects of my life. Never have and never will. So the truth is that undertaking an academic journey, for me, my own approach is having a very firm grasp as to what is expected of you. You know that in a typical law school syllabus, you have like you're playing with at least 20 topics per course. You have 5 courses, so we're looking at in and around 100 topics, right? You have a 9-10 month sprint period. This is what you have to do. Each of those topics will have maybe average of 2-3 drafts and the like. So you know that this is what is required. And it's not good for you to just imprison yourself to one aspect of life. I've never been an academic monk, so I've always believed that it's very good to have a very balanced life because, I mean, life is just one. So a typical law school day, I mean, we have to wake up early, 7:30-ish. Personally, I'm an early morning reader, so I'll wake up earlier than that, maybe like 5, right? So read for like 2-3 hours. Then lectures will wear until like 2 p.m. From there, have lunch, you know, come back, do some rest and the likes, and then we'll hit the road. So I've always been one for teaching. I've always had a knack for teaching. It's almost like a natural flair. So had some discussion sessions, you know, had some tutorial sessions. It was almost like a daily routine actually. So so did lots of that. So that would take like lots of hours from me, from like 4 to like 7, 8, 9. In between, maybe have breaks and, you know, just continue talking and, you know, demystifying as many things that I may know, so that every other person around me too, I mean, so I would just be on the same page and the like. So yeah, there were lots of those academic meetings for me personally, but yeah, it was still delicately balanced with social life and other interactions. Okay, so I'll tell anybody for free, you cannot embark on the law school journey on a solo mission. This is not Mission Impossible. It's not Men in Black. You cannot do it alone. The law school syllabus is structured in such a way that you cannot even begin to internalize solely without really wanting to exchange ideas with your peers. And I mean, there's an old wise saying that iron sharpens iron, and at the law school it holds ever true, year in, year out. So I will not say you dedicate your time to just listening to others, because many people now, or many persons might feel a little intimidated that their peers are like reciting the entire Kama and then they are stuck at section 19 and section 20 of Kama. But no, but the point is that the fact that you are continuously interacting, the fact that you're continuously being involved with the law school syllabus, it gives you a better grasp. It gives you that feeling of, or that sense of, it increases your retention. And you'll find out that when you enter into the exam hall, many times it's residual knowledge that will bail you out. You know, it's very good that you know the normal topical areas, you know. I mean, every year you have charges that will come out as question 1, trial will come out as question 4. In civil, it's taken for granted. You're going to draft a number of motions. You will not write a corporate law exam without drafting resolutions. So yeah, we know these free expos, but the truth is that there are some years, and you check it, you just see things that are a little bit off the cuff. What will save you is that random discussion that you had with your classmate or somebody or somewhere, somehow, right? So for me, yes, I've always been big on interactions. You do your personal reading, you have the principles cleared up in your head, but it's very, very good to interact, you demystify these things, break them down, exchange ideas, raise issues, you know, find out where you're probably not getting. Someone might explain a principle, but this is law we're talking about. So it's very possible now that maybe there's a better perspective that you might also get from another person and the like. So it's just very, very good to have like, you know, a transfer of ideas. It's very important. So yeah, I would advise balancing both. You do your personal reading, and then you also have a very, very comfortable discussion group. Don't follow the crowd. Don't just do the whole 10-man thing, because at the end of the day, you might not get everything. But have like something of a group of 3, a group of 4. You guys should, like, you know, twist it around, you know, shuffle it. Maybe today someone is handling 3 topics in one course, the other person is handling another course, you know. So just get a very balanced and a very comfortable set of persons who are like-minded. So you don't just get someone who is, you know, there are some people that are la crème la poor. They will just come, they just want to say everything they have in their head. No, that's not discussion. You should have someone that is analytical, so that when you're making your own submissions, the other person is able to not just want to hear what the person knows, but see reasons with your own, and then bring up superior arguments. Or, I mean, it's law school, so just show us where your own principle is captured, did something change, and everything. So yeah, it's very important. So yeah, discussion groups is a very, very big thing for me. But couple it with your pseudo readings, because after you read on your own, when you're able to discuss these things, break them down, it just internalizes and sticks with you more. So yeah, support system is very key. The truth is that I feel I'm my biggest cheerleader. So, you know, as much as I will get external support from family, friends, peers, and the likes, I feel I am my biggest motivator. So the truth is that, what are you setting out to achieve, right? I missed the first class by whiskers, and that was entirely down to me. You know, there are some people that are still very aggrieved with their result, and like, why did I miss it? I know why I missed it, right? And because of the interview, I think we'll disclose that when we're talking about some important tips for law school success and the likes. But yeah, for me, I know what I wanted. I put in the work. I really put in the work. I motivated myself because I know that I didn't want anything less, you know, right? So it's all about you putting in that hard work. You know what is ahead of you, and you put in the commensurate effort to ensure that what you want materializes. So, but the support system is very key, because I mean, there are some days that you're just going to be out of sorts, and what to get you back on your feet is, you know, either your family, either your mom, your dad, or your siblings, or your friends, your spouse, partner, significant others, somebody anywhere. So that external confidence booster, it's very important, because there are some times that the chips might be down, and you just need something to rekindle the fire. So yes, people can have different support systems. Some people, their support system might be movies. Some people, it might be to play some PS4 or something. You just need to have a let go. You need to have a place where you just get back to and, you know, draw some energy, or, you know, some force. So yeah, it's very important to have a support system, and always rely on it when you need it. So yeah. So my study method has always been to first of all, read ahead. I've always believed in reading ahead. Some persons might be like, they will first of all like to attend the class, and then, you know what's up after. So my own personal method, I mean, it's worked for me for my LLB journey, and largely in the BL journey as well. So I always would do like a pre-reading, just face value interaction with the study materials, have a fair grasp as to what each and every topic would entail. I wouldn't say immediately recollect, because I've not even been taught, so there are certain gray areas in that topic, but at least if I pick a typical topic, I mean, so let's say charges, for example. So in charges, it will span over 2 weeks, right? It's very important for you to understand what the principles of charges, so your rules of drafting charges, you understand the whole ambiguity thing, rule against duplicity, and the like. So you understand that, okay, there are rules of drafting charges here. There are post-amendment procedures, if you want to amend your charges. So I just know that at least these subheadings exist, so that when it is being taught, I'm like, okay, at least these are the areas that are in this topic. And then, as a very key resource of mine, past questions. The law is precedented. As much as they say the law can change, the law is dynamic, the law is largely settled. So it's very important that in as much as you are yet to be taught, you still can trace what happens in the past, because it's what happened in the past that will most probably happen now again. So even before I go into any course, even before I go into any topic, I would have seen a couple past questions that have been set from that topic. So at least that gives me an idea. So even when the lecturer is teaching, I'm able to know that, okay, like, these are the areas I need to pay particular attention. It's not gambling, it's just having an idea, because it's, you know, seeing these things in past questions, saying it in pre-class and everything, it kind of like gives you a feeling of palpability to say that, okay, like, these are the possible ways now that these principles can come to life in real scenarios, in problem question formats and the like. So yeah, so lots to do with past questions, reading ahead, having a fair idea, then going into classes, so that when we're coming out, you know, it's just concretization. We've already done first reading technically, and then second reading through listening to the lectures, and then third reading and the like to just go for perfection. So yeah, so that's my own study routine, really. Yeah. So yeah, MCQ is the cheat code. You need to ace your MCQs. I mean, it's taken for granted. MCQs 20 marks, yes. Theory 80 marks, I know. But MCQs is the difference between you making your desired grade and what you graduated with. That's just the truth. Because, so for me, the method will be just practice. There are no two ways about it. Law school lecturers across the 7 campuses will say it. You can only know MCQs by trying it out, by practicing MCQs. Same as draft, same as it. So you can only know these things by doing it consistently. So my own method, and I use it from JAM. So when you're doing anything objective based, it's very, very good that you got a question, but it's also very possible that you guessed that question and you got it correctly. So when you're marking yourself, it's not just to do, okay, I got number 1, is A is here. No, look at those other options. Like, try to understand why they appear the way they do. And I mean, we all know, law school MCQs, you have like 2 similar answers in one. You know, there's a thin line between wanting to say duplicity and wanting to say the other thing, because I mean, you say a typical question in criminal education and say that the above charge is defiles or offends what rule of against drafting charges and the like. So it's just very important to not just mark yourself that you got this correctly or not, for you to understand those other options and indeed internally resolve and cancelling it out to your mind so that there's no way that this would have been the answer. And not just to say that, but to actually rationalize it, so you know why this cannot be answer, and then you know why this can be the answer. So yes, and law school MCQ is 1 hour. It's very good for you to time yourself for 5 minutes, because anytime you get into that exam feeling, 1 hour is no longer 1 hour. So it's very good that prior to exams, you're able to time yourself even with a stricter timeline. So let me say like 45, 50 minutes. And yeah, I mean, I was able to time myself with past questions and like. So yeah, MCQs, trying. You just have to try it. You just have to continue doing it, really. The truth is that in my 5 courses, after writing the exam, I know what. I wasn't in any way surprised, as I said earlier. I wasn't in any way surprised as to my eventual grade and how close I was, right? Because for the 5 courses, after my 4 courses, I was so sure I was going to make a very strong A in those 4. And the one I did not make an A in, I knew after the exam. So the truth is that you would know. And how I did, obviously there were some times in the exam where you just really need to be very patient. So first things first, you have 3 hours, right? Normal, basic exam. So use the first 5-10 minutes to read through your question 1 and question 4, and then get a sense of what will be required of you. Because truth be told, not all questions would demand the same length of time to answer. There are some that you might be able to do it hurriedly. There are some that you need to actually take your time to study. My A, property law question 1, I did not use more than 25 minutes to answer it, for example, because it was very straightforward. But as opposed to question 4 that it took 1 hour. So there are just some that you just have to actually give some thought to it. So when you use that first 5 minutes to read through your entire questions, you now know how to allocate your time. So that will be the first strategy for me. That's what I always did. So I just use the first 5 minutes, get a sense of the questions, know how I would mentally spread out my time, allocate my time, so I don't get choked with time, you know. So first of all, I know what is required of this question, then, you know, answer my compulsories first, I mean, so that get all possible marks and then now handle the two optional. So yeah, so it's very important that you look at the questions first, you know, get a sense of what will be required, and then be very calm. When you're writing, write very clearly. Law school, they will say they don't need much grammar, but if grammar is required, please write it. Nobody will penalize you for writing well, right? So construct your answers well. As many authorities as you can recall, throw them in, ensure your principles are bang on, you know. So sometimes when examiners read, they know a student that is making sense, even though it might appear lengthy. They'll continue reading because you're saying the correct thing. So yeah, it's very important, read the whole thing, capture your answers succinctly, express when you have to, look at your time, be very conscious, know what to be required of you. And so yeah, so that was it for me. And it's not like if I came out of the entire 5 courses confident, but I knew where I slipped up, and yeah. Okay, so I used to joke with my friends that time. So we resumed January, but we resumed January, but lectures kicked in by February. But as at the month of May, June, I had an idea of the entire syllabus. So I had a fair idea of week 1 to week last of all the courses. And that was tracing back to my strategy of just always having a bird's eye view, just going through these things, know what's involved. So during the externship, it was a lot of consolidation, right? It was a lot of consolidation. So how was I able to go through all these things initially? Truth be told, I don't want to market, but you see those small study notes, those note series on this, that, we know them, right? All law school students know them. All of them, most of them are very good. Those things are very comprehensive summaries of the principles that you require in each and every topic. Those things are cheat codes. If you're able to read those things, and you can read like 3 or 4 topics in such a short length of time, right? So that was how I was able to even get an idea of most of the topics. So even though in week 1, we are just doing charges 1 that week, I will not just read charges 1 that week. I can read from like charges 1 down to trial 1, right? And that will give me an idea as to what will even come in the next 3-4 weeks of lectures. So same. So obviously there are some topics that you can't do that. For example, something like corporate. You want to do corporate governance to start reading all of them at once. But no. So you will not apply the same approach to all courses. But the truth is that using those note series will help you, give you an idea. And as well, the law school handbook, those learning outcomes, they are very key as well, because most of the law school questions are drawn out from those learning outcomes. So you can also look at those learning outcomes so that when you're even reading your note series, you know the areas that the law school are particularly interested in. So if you combine these little things, it's not about reading wide or reading so deeply. It's all about reading smartly, right? Because the important thing is that the person marking your script just wants to see what is on their marking scheme. So if you're giving it to them as they want it, you're obviously going to garner your marks 100%. So yeah, so that was my own approach. The concept of revision is with an assumption that you would have read them well already, right? So revision is just kind of like to tie up all loose ends, if any. And for me, 2 weeks building up to the exams, it was just a thing of settle principles, settle topics, settle any areas that appear hazy, because of how the law school is, they are very current. So there are possibilities of BFA changing some principles. Some high court rules might change, right? Some cases might change some principles in civil procedure and like. So it was just very important to just get abreast with the current position of the law school, because there might be a position, but the law school might take their own position. So it's also very important to understand what law school's position is. And a good way to know is to have a cross-section of ideas across campuses. You need to have a strong team of friends across the 7 campuses. Do not miss it. So even though you're in Abuja, even though I was in Abuja campus, I had my guys in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Yola, in Kano, in all campuses that were giving me live feeds as to what was obtainable there. what were their lecturers taking as positions there? Obviously, I too was telling them. So there was almost like this thing of we had like an information bank, right, or some sort, that this is the law school position on this principle, on that principle. So you need to just be able to interact with your peers across all campuses, know what the law school position is, prioritize settling things in your head rather than as opposed to wanting to make them argumentative. So stop saying things of, this case has changed or that case has... No. Just ask, what is your campus saying? What did your campus say on this? What did my own say on this? Good. If they are different, I'll take what my own campus say, because law school always tell you that if it appears as though two principles are conflicting, one campus is saying the other campus is saying the other, take what your lecturer told you, because when they are marking, they will still resolve it in favor of the students, right? So, but that aside, generally the law school is quite homogeneous with their positions. So, right. So those principles that they are in unison with, you need to just be very relaxed with them, ensure that what you know, what you have locked up in your head is the law school's position on an issue, not your own personal opinion, because it's immaterial. So yeah, so that was what I was doing building up to the exams, just consolidation, ensuring that I know what was obtainable in other campuses and, tying up all those ends, if any. So yeah. Leading up to law school, I had a very bad breakup, so it kind of like really affected me. But I mean, we thank God for grace and we thank God for God's help that He was able to see us through, right? But aside that, I think the toughest part of law school was just, sincerely, I don't think there was a toughest part of law school. So I don't want to lie. So I feel the law school was really nice. Like, you just need to take life very easy. And if anyone knows me, I'm a very chill person. So, I know what is ahead of me. I know what I have in front of me. So just allocate your time. You have time for everything, because the law school is a very good place to network. Many peers, many people you meet at the law school, you end up meeting them in the field. They will end up being colleagues at law firms or at other places other than law firms, like other institutions, organizations. So it's just a very good place to interact, to know people, to build on yourself, because that's technically your last grueling academic experience in life. Because aside law school, the next thing is what? Professional certifications, postgraduates, masters, PhD. Those things are soft. Those things, they're just rollovers. And also, the law school is your last real academic hustle, and you have to enjoy the entire process. They always tell you, enjoy the process. It's a 10-month sprint, yes, but you need to ensure that all boxes are ticked. So really, I didn't have a tough part. Aside from what I mentioned earlier, God helped us. Yeah, I think the law school was generally chill, really. Yeah. The only thing that kept me going is what I would always feed my head. And as I also mentioned earlier, you are your biggest motivation. So I didn't have this thing of saying that I have my parents to please, or I had the world to settle, or I had my forefathers to impress. No, obviously those expectations were there, especially with graduating with a first class from your LLB. There's always like that whole thing of you can't get a double first class, and you can't go less than what you've already set for yourself. So many a times, persons that graduate with the first class from the LLB, you're almost a victim of your own success, right? It's history now, but yeah, what happened, yeah. So, but really no regrets, because there was really, is there anything I would have done differently? Perhaps, but really, truly, no regrets. So the thing that will always keep me going on my hardest days are what I set out for myself. And I really, really, really wanted it, right? So I just would put in the effort, just remind myself so that, look, on that day, this is what I want, right? On that prize giving day, this is what I really aspire for. This is what I would like to achieve. So many persons would have a success expectation of saying, I don't want to fail. So for those persons, you should also know the proportion of effort that you need to put in to avoid failure. Some persons will say they want to finish top 3. Some persons will say that they want not just Red Scroll, but a couple awards to follow. So you should just know the effort that will be required, right? So you just need to know and put in the commensurate thing, and yeah. So yeah, managing expectations is, sometimes we just say these things and they sound abstract. Expectations are what do you set out to achieve, right? And how do you go about it? You know what you want to achieve. how you want to go about it would now be based on a subjective approach, because the law school is an environment or is a journey that at the initial, at the the first word go, you need to know what you're working towards. If you want a first class in the law school, you should have already resolved in your mind, because it will take a lot of effort. If you just want to, have fun and come out unscathed, that is not having a receipt, you should also still, agree with your mind that that's what you want from the beginning. So it's very important that you know what you really want to do, what you want to achieve at the law school. It will help with what you need to put in, right? So we'll talk about managing expectation. If your expectation is that you want to break the record to achieve 100 over 100 across the 5 courses, that is your own personal expectation, and the effort required to ensure that becomes a reality, it's going to be a lot. It's humongous. So you also need to put in that humongous effort to actualize that goal. How you might manage it, obviously, sometimes you might be self-pressured. You might be saying, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? No, you just need to calm down sometimes, because in as much as it is very good to, to psych up yourself, to always keep the goal, keep that motivation. Some persons will write it, paste it on their wall. Some people will have it as their wallpapers on their phone. All those things can help. All those things motivate. All those things can help fuel your engine when it's a bit dry. But ultimately, it is you. If something does not come out from you, externals are just, at the end of the day, just breeze, really. So that self-proportion must come in from you. And it can only come in from you when you really know what you want to do. Let's not just be a thing of someone is telling you that, look, go to the law school and get this for me. Go to the law school and achieve this. There needs to be, there's a whole lot to do with your own personal will, what you really want to achieve. Because trust me, it's a long grueling process. Months, you can 3-4 months into it. If it's not really what you want to do, you're going to gas out. So you need to actually know that this is what you have to do. And, managing that expectation for yourself is, it's quite subjective, because sometimes we can make all these general statements, but specific situations, specific circumstances can just tell a different story, or a different approach might be employed. So, but yeah. So I think I've already mentioned this earlier. So I was heartbroken. So I think we just ended there. So I had no support, but yeah, my support came from above. We thank God for God. Yeah. Truth be told, that the law school, if you don't lose your sanity at some point, that's to say you're not in the law school. Even for people that are party freaks, or people that were not really setting out to break records and achieve so much academically, would still get tired. That's how crazy the law school can be. So you just need to be able to strike a balance. Even to the very, very excellent of the excellent students who still have to, you need to have a breather, right? So for me, unfortunately, Man U is not doing so well, but I'm a Man U fan till death. So the thought of Man U not doing so well and can just help take my mind off the law school, why? So just get into some banter, some arguments with your guys, and talk about how even though Man U is not good, Arsenal still never win a trophy and all. So those kind of things can help. If you're a music person, you can listen to music. If you're in a cosmopolitan city, in Lagos, their campus in VI, so sometimes you can step out of the campus and stop seeing books. You can see other things. It can just help balance things, because balance is key. I've never believed in a one-way traffic in life. So yeah, so whilst I was doing the hard work academically, I was still invested in other areas than law. So it helped keep balance, and it helped keep my mental and emotional space sane. Challenge or not, and obviously if you have a challenge, it's even worse, but challenge or not, the law school will take a lot from you. So you just need to be determined, really. I'm almost beginning to sound like a broken record. It's almost like if I'm not a motivational speaker. You need to rely on yourself, right? If you have a low self-esteem, you have to pause it for the Nigerian Law School year, right? Or maybe the Nigerian Law School year will transform it. You just need to be your own motivator. You need to believe in yourself a lot, because truth be told, lay out those 5 courses in front of you, the sheer number of pages you have to go through, and you will feel totally fazed at the idea or the conquest that your village people are telling you to do. It's not an easy thing, right? So you need to really, really believe in yourself and put in the effort. Not everyone is blessed with natural intelligence, but the truth is that real hard work, there is nobody that hard work will not save. That is the truth. Some persons are naturally gifted, so they just need to put in little effort and they are fine, right? But for some persons, you just need to put in that work. If you don't put in that work like times 3 times, 4 times, 5, it will not work. So you just need to know yourself. The truth is that everyone who has gained admission into the Nigerian Law School are all lawyers in equity, and you cannot have been an LLB holder in Nigeria if you did not know your stuff, at least to a very large extent. So on that should even give you the number one confidence. The fact that you're a law graduate from an accredited university in Nigeria already gives you the confidence to be able to go into the Nigerian Law School and achieve and attain anything, any feat that you're set out to do, right? So you just need to really rely on yourself, psych up yourself. If you're physically challenged, you should know your methods, how you normally go about your academic procedures and processes. Largely, still keep it the same. Some persons came into Nigerian Law School, change methods, right? Some it worked out, some it doesn't work out, right? So you have that first 1-2 months to try things out, even though I totally am against doing trial and error in terms of law school because there's no time. But if you feel that what you graduated with from your LLB or your LLB journey is not sufficient for you and you want to better that, then you are permitted to try something out differently in your first 1 month. If you're a note maker, continue making your notes at the law school. If you're not a note maker, I would advise you not to indulge in that practice, right? Just keep your methods. If you want to change, maybe you have the first 1 month to change, right? So just avoid mixing things, because some persons will say this is their own style. Other people say this is their own style. If you do not have a style, you end up trying both styles, and you'll be trying both styles and you have 1 month to exam. So there's no time to be trying out things. Just know that the law school will demand a lot. Howsoever you did it at your LLB, let's say that that's your trial phase. If you can afford it, do not do trial and error with your methods and strategies. Just keep at it, and the sky is your starting point. So yeah. My result, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I know that that's what it would have been. The truth is that if you want to make a first class in Nigerian Law School, you have to be peerless on all fours, right? So your 5 courses needs to be, you must not miss a comma in your head, right? Because at the end of the day, even though you did not miss a comma in your head, it is possible that you missed a comma on the paper that day and the person marking did not see it. So I know that it was ethics that I'm going to have a problem with, because even after when I finished that theory, the MCQ was absolutely excellent, but the theory, I know that I did not, I did not perform as optimally as I did in the entire 4. So the result wasn't a shock, and the award, it wasn't. It was nice. So it wasn't a shock as well. I was proud of my achievements, albeit to that extent. So yeah, mindset and strategy. That's all. For faith-based individuals, you need that connection with the divine, right? So if you believe in God, hold on to Him, because there are times when the arena of mortality might seem insufficient and you need to transcend into the metaphysical. So you just need to sometimes have a sense of spiritual connection that can help strengthen you when you're down. So yes, but beyond that, your mindset, your own personal resolve, your personal determination, what are you really made of? What's your metal, right? How strong can you be and all? So at the end of the day, your mental space, your belief in yourself, and of course, the commensurate mad hard work that you put in will just all help to come together to achieve what you want to do at the Nigerian Law School. So yeah, so I think for me, mindset and strategy, yeah. So my advice, expert advice for Nigerian Law School and the broader educational landscape in Nigeria when it comes to inclusivity and accessibility for physically challenged students, or anybody at all who appear different, is I feel technology is a cheat code. I feel that technology is the one path to total and full equality or equity, as you may, as it were. So right, so Nigerian Law School can be better in terms of technology and accessibility. I don't know if any Nigerian Law School lecturer has their text in soft copy formats, right? I mean, there are fears of piracy, printing, and selling without authorization, but it's what it is. If you do not provide that version, right, you will not have the students sourcing through other ways. And I had to do lots of sourcing. I had to do lots of personal hustle. It's not something that we can start detailing here, but I had to rummage through the forest, right? I've always been a hustler, right? Even from my ENN days down to Nigerian Law School days, there were so many things that I achieved. There were so many things I was able to get by through, and many people, no one knows about the processes really. It's all about the result, right? So the process wasn't easy, has never been. Hopefully it will be, right? But the Nigerian Law School as well as the broader educational sector in Nigeria can catch up by just being more technologically adept, technologically savvy, rely on lots of soft copy based kind of things. It will really help, really. So technology is really the answer. It's broad. There's many substratas to it, but yeah, we can take it some other time.